Welcome to the informative podcast with guest, co-host, and narrator, me, Cindy Garcia. On today's discussion is a discussion or a topic per se of the negative issues or views of robotics and sterile processing for both either the worker or the patients. Robotics and sterile processing departments help automatic tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce human error. They surface around decontamination for cleaning and disinfecting surgical instruments. Now, we're not going to get down to the issues, the scary parts, or anything like that. Let's get started on what are the good motives? What are the good things that they're actually doing? So let's just get started on that part. These robots are able to move instruments, tools, whatever you need in and out of the sterilizers. I think that's pretty amazing, a bot being able to do all this. Some robots can help sort and inspect and package these instruments. You don't need an extra person, an extra hand, because these robots have it all. They really do. Some of them can help move trays and equipment around the department. That sounds nice. They can also help track things such as like inventory management, trays, all that good stuff. And, all that sounds good and helpful. But what about the issues? Well, what's going on in that area? These bots are trained. We got people behind these bots who are programming them to do certain things to help out departments such as sterile processing, or in this case it is sterile processing, but they could help surgeons. They could help out a lot of people. And so you would think, with a person being behind the build of these bots, what could go wrong? If these bots are set up to be, act, and do certain things, what could they possibly do to cause error, horror, or whatever you'd like to call it? Because to me, it sounds all glory. It sounds enticing. It's something they put in front of my face and I'd sign the contract. Because what do you mean a stay-at-home mom could have a robot who can have 6 hands and do it all for her? That would be a yes. And I'm sure in sterile processing, they kind of see it the same way, as a helping hand. But it all sounds too good to be true, because once you get these bots, you then come to realize how much work it's actually going to take to keep these bots up and moving, how much money it's going to take you out of your own personal checks to keep these bots moving. Initially, the robotic cost is high. It's a very large investment. And once purchasing these bots, it's thousands and thousands of dollars as is. And now you have to pay for the installment. You're going to have to find the correct people who know how to operate and maintain these bots. Because, you now have a whole machine. You need the people that understand how to do this. And it's going to cost not only you to pay for the parts, but it's also now going to cost you to train people to learn how to work these bots. Because you're owning it, it's such a high quality of work, and it needs to stay updated and running brand new. It needs to be brand new. Any downtime on these robotic systems, it has a huge impact and delays in the SPD, leading to delays of instruments and the instrument processing, which is very, very important. The SPD, they are delivering instruments that surgeons, doctors, they need. And if there's any downtime, it's going to cause a delay in all of it. Also, with that being said, we're not talking about a machine that's a size of a box, a small box. We're talking a big robotic system, enough to fit instruments, trays. It's high quality. They're big. They're huge. So then you got to think about where you're going to place them. SPD's already laid out a certain way. Now, could you imagine having to switch up the whole entire room just to fit this machine inside? It's also going to cause a limited floor concern because of the size of the SPD as is. And now you're adding more and more things and you're getting limited room. And, the way it works is it's all one-way flow. You can't just put things in certain areas and call it good. You got to think about the one-way flow, and that's just how that all works. Another thing to think about is anything electric, such as the robotic device, there's always room for malfunctions. Anything could go wrong. Could be, a simple error and you call someone out, they reboot it and it's fine. Or it can be a huge malfunction. I'm talking nobody knows what's going on, not even the experts. And, you're going to have to be calling around, figuring out what's going on. This is also going to cause, delay of instruments. And not only that, what if you already had things already inside the bot to, sterilize and move around, and now there's an error or malfunction, and now these instruments are damaged, and you're going to have to replace the instruments. You're having to already call to get the machine inspected, figure out what's going on. And then not only that, there could be a leakage in something inside. Something could have broken and it could cause safety concerns to the whole SPD. I mean, that's a big risk factor as well. And now for the huge topic. I mean, this is everybody's concerns. I mean, it's 2025 and it's only counting more and more years, and our phones are constantly being upgraded. Machines are constantly being upgraded. I mean, when we go into a grocery store, we hardly ever get scanned by humans. It's all now it's robot. We're scanning ourselves. We're doing the job for other people. People are getting cut off of work because bots are now taking over of once was a human job. And so with these machines being brought into SPD and big hospital facilities, there's going to be job displacements. There's going to be people who are now losing their jobs because these bots are coming in and doing it for them. And while, yes, it does sound nice, the hospital doctor, wherever they're placing it, they feel much safer because these bots are being programmed to do a certain thing. And they feel like it's promising to know that it's always going to come out perfect. And so now they're taking these people's jobs and they're just taking it away from them. That's all there is to it. They're just taking it away from them because they feel like these bots are just a better replacement. And so that grows concerns for people who are already working in that department, getting cut off hours. And next thing you know, they're getting cut off their whole entire job. That's both positive and negative. I mean, man, that's hard. And could you imagine just getting cut off of your job and next thing you know, you get a phone call that there's been a breach or a cyber attack on these machines and it's caused a big concern and issue, and now they need you back after they done just cut you off of your work because they said, oh, well, here, Bot Steve's gonna take your job. They're gonna sanitize and move all this and track this and do this. And now guess what? You get the phone call. There's been a cyber attack. We need you to come back into work and we need a hand do all of this. That's just another concern with any device you have. It's not always safe. There can be an unauthorized access to be connected to these bots, and it can intervene with what the bot's job actually is. They can have it do whatever they want, and then it becomes an issue of the celerity of it, because now who knows if they're actually clean? What did this machine do when the breach was being hacked? I mean, there's no other way to say it. And because of this, in healthcare, it raises ethical concerns related to safety, care, and the role of technology in the human work. All healthcares should be considered of these pros and cons before even going through with a big changing purchase. I mean, come on, it's like I said, any mom that has multiple children at home would absolutely sign up for a working robot. And then once they get it, they're kind of like, well, dang, this part just broke and now I need to have it replaced. There goes another $1,000. Well, now it needs to be rebooted. It needs to be updated. And I have no idea how to do that. Now I'm going to have somebody come out and do this. This is things that healthcare providers, facilities, whatever, should be thinking about. I mean, And not only that, I think about the healthcare providers who are already working in SPD and having to then, train to learn how to use these machines. And what if it's not good enough? What if they just really don't understand? This is like trying to get our grandmas who are in the 90s understand how to work an iPhone. I mean, sometimes it's a little ridiculous to think about, if you're going to bring in these new machines, you might as well bring in new people who have already had the diplomas of functioning these machines. I don't think it's right to, have people who are already comfortable with what they're doing, what they already were taught, and what they've learned previously before this high tech came in. So maybe just taking the high tech kids who are already at that speed and just bringing them in. They're already trained. There's no point of laying someone off just because they can't understand how to function these machines. And, like I said, the cost, the maintenance, you might be better off just not getting the machines. The years are going and everything's up in technology, but is it honestly worth it? So far what we've already talked about is the risk of breaches and the access control, the cost, the training, the extra people having to be hired. Why would you want to turn around and go backwards with all of that? You already got great people working for the SPD who know what they're doing, who've already went to their college courses or whatever. They're comfortable. They know what they're doing. And now you're just going to bring in a bot who, one, you can't always say it's 100% done deal. You can't tell me that a bot is, going to always do the job right the first time. Us people, we have trouble doing that. But after a while, we kind of get trained through our minds where we understand how to do a certain thing, and we could probably do it with our eyes closed. And now you're going to bring in a bot who can have delays in functioning. They might not be updated. There's just too many risks that come along with it. And while, yeah, it all sounds good, but really think about it, In my opinion, it's a yes and it's a no. Bring in the bots, but do not drop the people who are already there. Like, there's just no point of doing that. The more the merrier. Heck, if you need to open up another room to fit everybody, go ahead and do that. If you're going to bring in a machine and already move things around, you might as well open up another section of the building to fit more people. The more people there are, the more knowledge there is. The more knowledge there is, the less people you're having to come out to look at the machines. I guarantee you, if you did, what's those things called? We're going to say if you did a tally, you went out in the street and you did a tally and you asked people what's their perspective on bots taking over in healthcare facilities. I guarantee you 50% would say yes and 50% no. And I say this because our generation is so mainly focused on new devices and electricity and stuff like that. And the older generation, our parents, or maybe even older, maybe our parents' parents, our grandmas, they are old school and they understand the importance of keeping things the same. They understand, sometimes it's not a good idea to go, not necessarily the easy route, but just taking a route of more high functioning devices that are around us. Because like I said, our generation doesn't think about the cost. They don't think about, data breaches, the hiring process, all kinds of those things. Safe to say our generation is just, what's the word? I can't think of it right now, but I think our generation is just way too focused on the new upcoming things. And I believe, we get lazier and lazier each year as it goes because we have just all these new things that are doing everything for us. We're no longer doing hard labor because we're having, these bots coming in and Ubering our food, drones doing what the cops should be doing and all that. That's a whole other story, but you get the gist of what I'm saying, Anyways, at this point, I'm just rambling on. Those are just a few things that I wanted to mention, in this podcast. So let me know your thoughts and what you think about it.